Привет всем! Что-то я сегодня, при расстроенных чувствах перевода стрима, решил скинуть вам официальное видео самого стрима. Может, что-то найдете в нем новое, подскажите и вместе проанализируем. Всегда буду рад вашим комментариям. Спасибо!
Hello everyone and welcome back to another monthly highlights stream for Jurassic World Evolution 2. I am your humble host, Erik Vaaler, part of the community team here at Frontier Developments. It is great to be back here again with you from our amazing streaming room. And if we've done our jobs right and we've set all these cameras right, we should be a lot brighter and a lot better looking than I think last time around. So it's been a great month of a lot of amazing announcements and a lot of amazing news about Jurassic World Evolution 2. And that's what we are here to talk about today. If you're just joining us for these streams, they're essentially a recap of everything we've announced, everything we've revealed for the past month, and we also get to talk a bit about some of the people working on Jurassic World Evolution 2 behind the scenes. We get to talk to some of the devs, hear some stories, and you know, maybe you'll get to see some video footage, some screenshots here and there, maybe some gameplay. Maybe there's a few surprises here and there. Who's to say? I think there's one small surprise new thing that we're going to show you here today, which we've already teased on our social channels. But I'm not going to do it alone. Of course, I am joined by someone, at least I'm joined by two people. We're going to bring in one first and then another one later. So first up, let me introduce to you the amazing Orson Adsoy.
You're right, chat. How's it going? Everyone good?
Producer on Jurassic World Evolution 2. Yeah, Orson, why don't you introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. I'm Orson, funnily enough. I am the producer in charge of basically every aspect of dinosaurs. So from the creation of the dinosaurs, you know, from concepting into creation of the art, into rigging them, animation, as well as AI and behaviors and stuff like that is kind of my primary area. Yeah, I've been at Frontier a bit over a year now. It's been great, frankly. Mm-hmm. Really loving working here. The team, Adam and Rich, are lovely.
Yes, they absolutely are. We had them on last week.
Rich doesn't want you to think he's lovely, but he is lovely. But yeah, it's been good. Thank you for having me on. Yeah. I just noticed that your socks are amazing.
Yeah, thank you very much. I mean, I don't think you can see them that well on stream, but they've got cheesy pizzas.
Wonderful pizza socks.
So thank you very much.
I've just got grey.
Yeah, no, I had a point in life where I was just like, you know what, I can make my socks look better. So I bought a bunch of pizza.
Don't you make your own decisions. You
exactly.
eat Teller for dinner.
Exactly.
You wear socks.
Exactly. Yeah.
Pizza cupboard.
Yes, as producer and as the sort of dinosaur producer, we sort of call you, at least some of us call you sort of the dinosaur wrangler, or a dinosaur expert. If you will. Were you much of a dinosaur kid when you were younger, or has this sort of come later as you've been joining us here at Frontier?
I was as simple a child as I am an adult. You talk about a creature with 3 massive horns and a shield for a head.
Yeah.
You know, that's exciting.
Yes.
It's something to be interested in. Giant thing that can kind of eat things with a single bite. Fantastic. Wonderful. Yeah. Massive footprints, you know. So yeah, you know, I love my dinosaurs. I love the kind of the more typical kind of crude aspect of them, the angry T-Rex, and like, oh, here's a creature that's literally born with spines all the way down its back that stick out. I mean, those things are cool, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I was into my dinosaurs. Had my dinosaur toys, my little plastic toys, which we all hold dear in our heart.
Of course, I think I still have some of mine at my parents' house somewhere. I think they might be in the basement now, but they're still around. They're still around. But yeah, I think that's what brings us all here, you know. It's the love of dinosaur and the love of the Jurassic World and Jurassic Park franchise.
Very much so.
I want to talk a bit about, I mean, we're going to talk about the dinosaurs, of course, but we're going to get to know you a little bit as well.
Sure, you want to just do a solid 30 minutes on me. Everyone's really excited about the dinosaurs, just don't even bring them up.
Yeah, it's only going to be, it's all Orson from here on out. No, of course not. So some of the dinosaurs we revealed so far, there's been some of them. Do you have a favorite? Is there anything that sort of stands out to you?
Of the ones we've announced so far, I guess that you probably don't want me suddenly naming off a load that we haven't.
Preferably.
Nervous laughter. Yeah, no, Ciliophysis, I'm pretty fond of, honestly. It's a cute little thing, but it's also very aggressive, and I'm kind of yeah, I just kind of like the feeling on it. The lad who created it has done a phenomenal job on it as well. Yeah, like the dinosaur itself looks fantastic. Animation and rigging teams have done a brilliant job of getting it to move believably, and in kind of having this sort of like smaller dinosaur, so it doesn't quite have the aggression of the T-Rex, but it has that opportunistic aggression that you expect to see in something like that.
Yeah.
And also just the kind of colouring on it, it looks quite beautiful. I know we've only seen limited imagery of it so far, but you know it's a great looking dinosaur. Although
Definitely, and some of the stuff that we've seen in the species field guide has also been very.
Yeah.
It's a dinosaur that sort of pops, even though it's smaller than a lot of the other stuff that we've seen.
Yeah.
Like it stands out quite a lot with the coloration and the patterns that we've shown. So what do you think that, what should players be most excited about when it comes to our amazing dinosaurs?
In general, across all of them, well, so I can't say any specifics. I think there's a lot of behavioural stuff that. So obviously, when I joined the company, one of the first things I did was play a lot of Nero. Sorry, I've used the internet name. Play a load of JW.
Cut his microphone. Let's just.
I've already lost my microphone. I expected to say worse stuff than that first. Play a load of Jurassic World Evolution, as you'd expect, and then you kind of you forget as you're working on this game the sheer amount of additional behavioural stuff you've got going on there. All the kind of like amazingly improved animations and stuff like that. I think one of the things that we focused on quite heavily in this game that I think a lot of players are going to love is that you'll be playing the game for quite some time, and then something will happen, and a unique opportunity for a behaviour that you haven't seen yet will occur, and you'll say, "Wow, I didn't expect that to happen." In situations where, in a typical game, you'd expect something would happen, nothing would happen. You'd be like, "Fine, it's quite a niche scenario," but there's a lot of behaviours like that which I think are quite exciting, and that kind of constant discovery of new things. I think players are going to love that quite a bit.
I know that there's a lot of players who will just place some dinosaurs into an enclosure and just click on the first one they see, and then just have the camera zoom in on that, and then it'll just sit there for 5-10 minutes just to see what happens. Like I was one of those players as well when I first started out, because you see them walk out of their of the Hammer Creation Lab, and it's just like, wow, this looks like a real thing. And now that I'm seeing footage from the second game, it's like, oh, it's even more of a real thing. Yeah. And it's been amazing to see so far. And I know that our players, when we've revealed the species field guides and all that stuff, there's been a lot of fun surprises for them that I think we're going to talk a bit more about later in the stream.
I think still trying to be vague because I'm not sure how much of this has been talked about, but even from the earliest point, right? You create a dinosaur, you release it, and I think even from that earliest moment, people are going to notice a massive jump in quality compared to JWE1, but they didn't expect, even in areas that they would have not expected extra quality to be. Yeah, I think it's going to be quite interesting especially for fans of the first game. Definitely.
I'm personally looking forward to seeing more of these amazing new behaviors that I haven't seen yet either, that you are, sort of have boiling around in your head right now. But yeah, so today, along with Orson, we're going to be discussing the Brachiosaurus, we're going to be discussing the Coelophysis and the Stegosaurus species field guides. We're going to show you some lovely B-roll as well. Basically, we're going to be showing you some in-game footage that you may or may not have seen, depending on what you've seen on our YouTube channel already. And we're going to talk a bit about our latest feature focus, along with our lead designer. We're going to be also discussing a certain German gaming magazine that I know some of you out there have been very interested in the past month, because if you know, you know. And we're also going to talk a bit about a new part of park management. So I think we should first jump right into the Brachiosaurus. Amazing. It's lovely when it works. So, species field guide for Brachiosaurus. This was shared at the end of June, but we're going to be bringing it into the July monthly highlights just because we can. Certainly one of my favorite dinosaurs. I'm a huge fan of herbivores, especially the big ones, because like the Brachiosaurus itself, like back in the day, was so big that it didn't really have any natural predators.
Yeah, you've got these beautiful lumbering giants, like especially when you see them among the forests and such. you kind of expect this sort of, an aggression from a carnivore or something like that. But when you have something that's just so naturally massive, but then it turns out to be a herbivore, it's just quite a beautiful sight. They're also quite cute.
Yeah, they can be, yeah.
Zoom in on their little faces.
Yeah.
They're quite adorable things. Assuming you're not a person standing next to one about to be crushed, of course.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about, because you see like screenshots of from the first game of players having built a tour through like the Brachiosaurus enclosure, for example, and then the Brachiosaurus steps down and suddenly the tour has to stop because, well, unfortunately the Brachio is standing here and it's eating, so we need to wait until we can move on. But yeah, definitely, I think it's incredible. And if you've, I think it was in the Amargasaurus species field guide, there's a Brachiosaurus in the background actually eating from the trees, which I personally didn't notice at first either, but a lot of our players picked up and was like, wait, is that what I think it is? And of course that leads into the whole paleobotany system that we've talked about previously as well. And I think some of those smaller behaviors that people can pick out from like backgrounds.
Yeah, and if you have 4 pixels showing something that people didn't know, they'll figure it out. Players are wonderful when it comes to disseminating information from any sort of footage thrown out, which is obviously wonderful fun for the marketing department deciding when things go out, because you need eagle eyes to make sure that exactly what you want to be seen is being seen. But it just kind of shows the passion of the players, right? Like you put in this sort of footage, you have this ever so slight scene in the for like a half of a second. And people are going to notice. I watched some of the footage from some of the guys making YouTube videos, and some of the kind of breakdowns of the footage we put out is really positively heartening. Seeing people kind of so interested they'll spend the time to do that. So yeah, it's great.
For sure. Let's see, there was a comment in chat from Unicast Gaming saying, my favorite is the Ankylosaurus, but brachios are like seeing the modern day whale you just can't grasp the size of. Yeah. And it truly is like here's a creature literally as tall as a tree. Yeah. And somehow that thing died out. And I think that's also what's sort of blowing my mind whenever I think about dinosaurs, the fact that they were the dominant species for a while and then suddenly just poof, they're gone.
Yeah, I mean, their size was their downfall, though, I believe, in a number of the theories of how it all happened.
Yes, because I even read one that said like they had to consume so many calories that they couldn't really move much. They mostly just stood there. They ate, and then they maybe moved a few meters sort of down the path, ate some more, moved a few meters, ate some more. Constant
consumption, especially as a herbivore, right? It's very difficult to turn plant matter into energy, and so they were constantly eating. Yeah. But on the upside, you're at home, you're thinking, oh, maybe I'll have an extension built onto my house. But you never know when there's going to be a massive dinosaur trampling on it. So I think we'd be a much more nomadic people if dinosaurs were still around.
I definitely think so. I think so.
I'm not gonna spend thousands of pounds on a great gaming rig for a dinosaur to walk in and eat it.
Anything new that people may not have seen from the Brachiosaurus just yet that you think you could share?
That I think I can share.
Probably not.
Probably less so. Again, I think that there's been a huge amount of work on the Brachio and just kind of making sure it delivers on what people expect from a lumbering beast of that size. There is some cool stuff going on in there that I have in my head right now, which is probably one of the worst things I could say in terms of a tease. All right. But I know that we'll show this off eventually, and I know that players are going to love it. But yeah, a lot of attention was paid to the fact that it is a massive creature, and because it's massive, there's certain expectations of how it would react in... I'm trying to be so vague. I'm trying to be so vague, man. It's so difficult not just talking about some of the cool stuff.
It's fine.
Tim will cut my microphone off if I do that.
He will, definitely.
And he'll probably give me some evils as well.
I can see in chat as well that there's a lot of people, there's a lot of love for the Brachiosaurus. Beef Taco says, my favorite is also the Brachiosaurus. You released the species field guide on my birthday. Thank you. Well, nice. Happy belated birthday to Beef Taco.
May you be a great and powerful, long-living beef taco.
Exactly. Kesh Game says, I love the Brachio so much, my favorite herbivore. And it's, yes, a lot of love for the herbivores in the chat. So we're going to go from the top of the trees a little closer to the ground. And I think we can talk a bit about the Coeliophysis. Yeah. Here we go. I love it. I love these production values. It's amazing. Sorry, I can't help but call it out. I just think it looks great.
Oh, I love these little guys. Look at them. That patterning down the side of the body is beautiful.
Yes.
It's so sharp as well.
I think we're showing off it's like 4 different colors or something here, showing off some new behaviors. That jump attack, the first time I saw it, I felt like a little squeal build up inside me because I knew, oh, like players are gonna love seeing that stuff.
There's some pretty strong stuff like that. Some pretty strong, goat hunting animations among others.
Definitely.
It's just such a sharp looking dinosaur. I mean, it shows off just how high fidelity our dinosaurs are now compared to JWE1.
And they still looked good in the first game. We've just sort of...
They've always looked great,
we've
right?
cranked it up even further.
Yeah, but we're really able to kind of, especially on the tools that we already had, we can now kind of develop on top of those and get greater fidelity out of it, and you can get some really, really beautiful stuff.
For sure. Let's see, Danny Ha says, the black Coelophysis is awesome. Depth217 says, Coelophysis can't wait to do some amazing dinosaur shots. And yeah, I think it looks really cool. I think the little social animation you see with them, I'm assuming it's a social animation. I haven't checked fully.
Yeah, indeed, where they're kind of nipping about each other. Yeah, indeed.
And I looked up some tiny facts about the Coelophysis. It's the first new dinosaur that we announced for Jurassic World Evolution 2. In my understanding, it's not entirely new for the franchise as a whole. It might have been in some things, but we're very happy to have it in this game. Triassic dinosaur, more Triassic representation, as it were, and it's a cousin to a lot of other predators that would come down the line, like the Dilophosaurus, for example.
Yes.
I think it's fun to see because you can see some of the same traits in this that you can see in like other dinosaurs. That
well, you end up with different members of similar families, right? And they've got different ways of surviving, different ways of hunting, different ways of avoiding being hunted. So you get quite interesting differences between them. A major part of the entire asset creation process is that we have some people who are very deeply in love with dinosaurs that spend a lot of time doing research into paleontological papers and studies. We look at bones, we look at, one of the first steps we take in the concepting phase of any dinosaur is we find photographs of the skull.
Yeah.
Or the closest thing that we can get in terms of research and accepted science on them. Because what you don't want to do, the head and the head shape obviously is a founding base for the dinosaur. The head shape obviously is possible. And then they kind of build from there, but it's essential to understand how these creatures worked. Or at least how modern science believes they worked. Because what you don't want to do is create your own fantasy and kind of deliver on that.
Yeah, I mean, it has to be accurate to what they will look like within the Jurassic World greater universe. There's a lot of, I'm assuming there's a lot of back and forth with Universal as well to make sure that they look okay.
Yeah, no, Universal have been great to work with. They've provided us with a lot of information and a lot of kind of data to work off of their own creations as well, and that's made the entire process a lot easier.
And so like I noted before, you see some of these new behaviors as well here. You see the socialization stuff, you see the jump attack, you see a bit of running onto the goat. A lot of people picked up on the jump attack onto the goat as well, which I think it looks so brutal, but it's also, they're dinosaurs. They eat meat, they hunt, all that stuff. So it's
we in terms of the goat hunts, we had there was one in particular. I think it may have been this handsome one here. The T-Rex hunting a goat, I think, caused a lot of people internally to kind of stop for a bit and say, "Is this too brutal? Is this?" What we realized is that the animation team had done such a great job that it was actually invoking an emotional response from people seeing it. But, it is what it is. It's a massive carnivore on 2 legs. It's not really, it's not animated in a way that's fantastical, but it is a large carnivore hunting a creature it sees as prey. And the fact that it's invoked emotion from our own developers is a great sign.
Yeah.
I think people are going to see that on an awful lot of our animations. There's a lot of really good quality custom work there by the animation team. And a lot of believable, strong animation work.
Speaking of some good, believable, strong animation work, let's take a look at the Stegosaurus. Because here is one thing that I know a lot of people really loved when we first showed it off.
I think I know what it might be.
The Stegosaurus, one, looks amazing in just like these 2 ones here, but that roll animation is just so cute and lovely, and it's it's so unexpected for a creature of that size, I think, to roll around like that, and then you sort of think about it for a bit. It's like, yeah, it makes sense. Of course, like, what sort of behavior is this? Is it just like a casual idle thing? Does it have a scratch on its back it needs to take care of?
It's adorable. It's almost puppy-esque. It's perfectly believable. It's not like it's something someone randomly decided to do, but it makes a lot of sense, right? Yeah, I remember, I think that particular bit of footage, I was talking to the people who were recording it, and I said to them, look, have you seen this action that the Stego does? Yeah. Let me show it to you quickly. Shared my screen, showed them, they're like, okay, we need to get that into our footage. We need to get people seeing that ahead of time. Yeah, to call it an idol would probably be not entirely accurate, but it's one of the behaviors that a dinosaur does, essentially while idling. You know, it can go for a number of different things, and yeah, it's a kind of essentially it's cleaning itself, right? It's trying to look after itself. And various dinosaurs can do various things that are relatively similar. Not similar in the sense that they'll jump on their back and start rubbing their back against the floor, but in ways that make sense for that particular species.
Depth217 said that the skins looked amazing. They absolutely do. I especially like the light and the dark coloration that you the first shot there.
Yeah, the art team have excelled in terms of the creation of these dinosaurs. Obviously, as I'm sure you all know, it's always a combination of artistry and also technical art. The guys on the technical art side have created tools that are just phenomenal at creating really detailed but also kind of efficient and effective in terms of the technology using them, tools for our art team to use. And that's created a situation where our more artistic members can really go into detail, kind of look at every scale on the surface of a dinosaur, figure out exactly why are they there? Is this skin soft? Is this skin hard? Would it have large scales here, small scales? How would the scales transition from one part of the body to another? How do the spines integrate onto the back of a Stego, right? They don't just appear on the top of the skin, there's stuff going on underneath. So you have to make sure that's believable. And then on top of that, the coloration, kind of going into that in detail, understanding what creatures exist in the real world that would have coloration of different sorts and such, and how across different skins for the Stegosaurus those might look. Yeah, they've done just a really impressive job.
Absolutely. Happy Chappy in Twitch chat says the rolling animation is the most adorable thing ever.
It is.
It absolutely is. I looked at it and I just thought, oh, people are gonna get a kick out of that. They're gonna love it.
It's that emotional response which you want from good quality animation, because all that really does is it makes me a bit sad, because what I actually want is a Stego to fall on its side in real life, so I can kind of just rub its side.
Yeah, give it a bit of a belly rub.
Yeah. But unfortunately, or at least in my lifetime, I'm unlikely to meet a real Stego, which is a bit saddening. But never mind. Science of the future, you know, for the sole purpose of rubbing a Stego's belly.
Maybe, yeah, definitely. But then again, this would be the franchise to tell us why this might be a bad idea.
No. That's all fancy. I'm sure there's nothing, and I'll give you my personal guarantee.
It'll be fine if we bring the dinosaurs back.
Nothing can go wrong.
Yeah, okay.
By bringing dinosaurs back.
All right. Let's now go over to some more in-game shots. If you've seen our dev diary, which was released earlier this month, you may have seen some of this already, but I feel like it's important to show some of it and talk a bit more about it. So let's jump over to that. So we see a lovely park shot, of course.
Yeah, the environment team have done a phenomenal job.
It looks really great, and of course we go straight into the dinosaurs.
I appreciate I'm here to talk about dinosaurs, but man, they've done well, and our flying reptiles.
Important.
I don't know, man. I want to just repeatedly call them dinosaurs to see what chat responds with. Yeah, no, it's all great. You've got the raptors there heading over.
Doing a bit of pack hunting.
No. I mean, they're going over to be polite. There's no.
Give him a bit of a cuddle.
Yeah, no ill intent there. They're going to go hang out. Look, a couple of silly fighters. It's a very peaceful game. It would be terrible. You know, we would never want. Well, see, they're socializing.
Yeah,
it's just a bit of joking around.
Yeah,
it's fine.
Of course,
yeah.
They're friends.
Yeah.
You know, that's what friends do. They sometimes mess about with each other.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, like, I'm being cautious, but I think the fighting stuff is going to...
Yeah?
I think people are going to be quite impressed by that.
I hope so.
A lot of really, really good stuff in there to really set it aside from JWE, so...
That's absolutely what I'm hoping as well. And I really like the like tiny bit that we've given you through these through the dev diaries, for example, and through these species field guides. So it's a sort of it's a tiny morsel of the bigger meal that's about to come when we launch the game later this year. But it's been really great seeing the skins and seeing some of the new behaviors and like just like that tiny just growl or whatever it is from the
Amargasaurus.
No, from the Velociraptor that appears.
Right, yeah. Because you have that one with the Amarga as well, where it kind of pulls back and then gives out this little this yelp. I say little because the Amargasaurus is a much smaller creature than you expect.
Yeah, but it's still big.
Yeah, I remember initially seeing the concept for it. I was like, that's a really cool dinosaur. And then the guys obviously made it, and then we saw it in game, and I was like, that's not the scale I expected, but it makes sense, right?
Yes.
A massive creature, evolutionarily speaking, probably wouldn't need spines like that down the back of its neck. So yeah, it's great.
And I hope everyone out there is enjoying seeing some of these images. If you haven't checked out our dev diary just yet, you absolutely should. And I think at this point, if I'm looking at my notes correctly, and I'm looking at the time correctly, which I'm trying to, I think we're gonna switch you, Orchard, out with someone else that you may have seen from the dev diary if you've seen the dev diary. And,
an upgrade, I assure you.
And as we do that, we're also gonna debut the small something new that we may have alluded to earlier on our Twitter and Facebook and Instagram pages. So we will be right back right after this.
Good park managers know that creating and caring for prehistoric animals takes not only financial backing, but the greatest scientific minds available. Scientists are a new addition to your park teams. They each have specific skills that influence the outcome of tasks such as fossil extraction, incubation, and dinosaur welfare. Keeping your scientists well trained and monitoring their stress levels will ensure tasks are completed quickly and allow for the smooth running of your park. An unhappy scientist could lead to dire consequences.
And we're back. Wasn't that great? That was your quick introduction to Scientists, a new game mechanic that we're bringing in for Jurassic World Evolution 2. And I'm joined on the couch by Jim Stimson, lead designer on Jurassic World Evolution 2.
Indeed, yeah.
Did I get the title right now?
Yes, yeah, I am lead designer indeed.
Because I got the title for Rich wrong the last time, so I needed to get it right this time.
Yeah, he won't take that well.
No, he didn't. So, yeah, Jim, why don't you introduce yourself?
So yeah, I'm lead designer on this fantastic game. Through a team of absolutely wonderful designers who make my life much easier and make me look good. Importantly, yeah, I've been at Frontier for 12 years. It'll be 13 years by the time this game comes out. So yeah, it's always exciting to kind of get to this point in a project where we're kind of in that exciting run up to kind of releasing.
Now we can
the
finally
title.
show people all the amazing things we worked on.
When you're working on it for so long and you're a little bit nervous, like what are people going to think about this?
Yeah.
And then, I mean, the reaction's just been fantastic.
Yeah.
So
do you keep up with it a lot? I mean, that's usually my job and my team's job.
Yeah, I mean, of course, of course, we can't help ourselves. We look and we kind of keep an eye on the sentiment and stuff, but everyone's so excited. It's been a real lift for me personally and for the team. You know, it really helps us get to the finishing line and put in that extra effort.
I bet. So yes, Scientists. It is a new mechanic in Jurassic World Evolution 2. And we're going to talk a bit about it, but I want to get to know you a little bit first.
Sure.
Were you much of a dinosaur kid growing up now that you're working on a dinosaur game?
Yeah, I really was. I loved dinosaurs when I was little. I still remember going to like I think it was the Natural History Museum and kind of seeing all the skeletons there, and especially when you're so little, they're just gigantic
Yeah.
compared to you, and you're just like in awe of these things.
I mean, they're still gigantic compared to you when you're an adult as well. Some of
Yeah,
them.
all right, I'm sure. I know, that's fine. But yeah, it's. I now get to see it through like different eyes because I've got a 7-year-old little boy, and he's just crazy about dinosaurs. So working on this game has been fantastic for him, and
Right.
kind of working from home, and he'll come in and sneak and have a look over my shoulder at what I'm working on and stuff, which is great. And then my little girl, she's now getting into dinosaurs as well, and she's a lot of it is because I'm working on this game. And bless her, she went out the other day for a trip with her auntie, and she bought a little red triceratops. Red triceratops toy.
It doesn't roll off the tongue that
it
well, so
it doesn't.
fine.
And she's called it Red Roy.
Oh, that's lovely.
Bless her. So yeah, so it's a big thing in my house.
So you're raising like a dinosaur household at this point.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. My wife hasn't got a clue what we're talking about most of the time.
Well, it happens sometimes.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite part of the game so far?
So I don't have one favorite thing. I've got lots.
Yeah.
Which I think is probably important for me as the lead designer to have lots of favorite things.
Yeah.
What we've done with the dinosaurs is fantastic, and the team working on those, all the way from kind of concept art into behaviours, like the way they act is well, I mean, we've already seen some of it. It's absolutely fantastic. The new territory system that we've got in there is brilliant. The paleobotany side of things, there's so much going on now. It's absolutely brilliant. So yeah, I'm looking for and the scientists as well. I'm a big fan of those. Luckily.
We've also got a lot of Dino kids in chat. Lucas says, I was a Dino kid 20 years ago. I'm a Dino kid now. Isaac Kraken says, dinosaurs are the best. All my emotes are dinos. So there's, of course, that's like I said before, that's why we're all here. And yeah, I keep seeing YouTube chat over there saying that marine reptiles are cancelled. They are not. There will be marine reptiles in Jurassic World Evolution 2. We've talked about it quite a bit. And we also have that thing in the species field guides, just saying. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about the scientists. So yeah, they're a part of the deeper park management systems that we're introducing in Jurassic World Evolution 2. What do they do for you as you're running a park?
Well, they do lots of things for you. Now I've got to try and remember these. There's 6 things. There is research, expeditions, fossil extraction, synthesizing, incubation, and healing.
All right.
So they do a lot of things for you in the park. They're really important part of the game and how you manage your parks.
So everything that has to do with just keeping things running at a sort of decent pace, I guess.
In progress, they are an incredibly key part of the game. Yeah,
right.
Definitely. And there's a lot of balance to be had with how you, which ones you hire and how you train them, and we'll touch on the traits in a second as well. There's lots of balance there to make sure that you've got a well-rounded group of scientists working for you in order to be able to do the tasks you want to do when you want to do them.
Right, definitely. So how do you go about hiring scientists? I'm assuming it's not just, I'm assuming there's a list somewhere, a hiring sheet, but I'm guessing there's more than just that.
So you're able to go, we've got a scientist management page. You can go in there, you'll be able to see the scientists that you have. You'll see kind of empty slots where you can click on, and then that will take you into a page where you can kind of scroll through different scientists available to you, have a look at what their skills are, have a look at what their traits are, have a look at how much they cost, and try and make an informed decision on what's best for your park at that moment in time.
Right, and can you have as many as you want of them? Is there like a set number that you can hire at a given time, or? So
there is an upper limit, but kind of what you are limited by is the staff centre.
Right.
So if you want to have more scientists, you need to build more staff centres, and you can put upgrades on those as well. And kind of the biggest factor though is money, because they're not cheap.
No,
they
of course
are.
not.
They
I
are
mean,
very,
if you're,
you know, they've studied for a long time.
Yeah.
They're experts in their field.
Yeah.
You've got to pay them the big bucks.
I just imagine if we have any academics in chat, just like sort of shaking their heads at us, saying that scientists are expensive. But, so yeah, I mean, when you're working with bringing dinosaurs back to life using DNA gathered from their fossils.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's a very specialized study. It's a very specialized person you would have to be.
Yeah.
So you can probably name your price if you want to be hired somewhere.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, as you said, they need to be they might need to be trained as well, because like you would want to hire someone and then maybe keep them for a bit and maybe improve their skills.
Yeah. So we've got 3 different skill types for a scientist, which are logistics, genetics, and welfare. And they can have a different number of skill points in each of those. Yeah. And what you're able to do is you're able to do research, which unlocks extra points that you can then give them. And what you can do is you can have a look at, maybe making them a specialist in one of those 3 skill areas, or you can make them kind of more of a generalist. And it's important to have that balance there in order to be able to, not slow yourself down at any one point in the game.
Right. Tipper a Fish in Twitch chat says, if I just give my scientists fun for Uber Eats, they'll stay happy. I wish it was that easy, unfortunately.
If only. If only.
They need a bit of rest, I assume, because they get a bit of stress when you
so
when you place them into tasks.
Each task they get one bit of stress.
Right.
Like anyone, the more work you do, the more stressed out you get.
Yeah, we can all relate to that, I think.
Yeah, exactly. And the scientists have their limits, and once they get to that point, you need to rest them, and you can do that through the staff center and the scientist management page. And if you choose not to, because there are times when there's a good reason to not rest them, they can become burnt out.
Right.
And if you carry on using your scientists while they're burnt out, then I won't go into too much detail, but bad things can happen.
You may have, like the story of Dennis Nedry may have may have been carried down the line of Jurassic World scientists, I assume.
Yes, most definitely. Yeah, it's a key part of the Jurassic experience. So,
Dinosaurs in chat asks if the pool of base science stat is that RNG when you acquire them? Random number generation.
So they are. You have a pool to pick from, and then I can't remember the exact time, but they'll regenerate a new set of scientists for you to pick from. So if the one that you want, kind of either in terms of skills or in traits, then it depends how patient you are as a player, really.
Sure. Yeah.
As like you can wait for a bit and wait for it to regenerate and find the one that you want, or if you're impatient like me, you just pick whoever.
Sure.
Go, right, you'll do.
So these specializations, how do they help when you play? What do they affect?
So the trait system is really important to having a balanced set of scientists. These are kind of like their little specializations. So you can have ones like faster extractions. So if you send them on an extraction task, it means that it'll take less time for them to come back.
Yeah.
Or cheaper incubation. So when you're incubating your dinosaurs, it costs you less money. So having kind of a balance of all of these different traits means that if you use the right ones for the right jobs, you can speed it up or make it cheaper for yourself.
Right.
The other thing that you can do is you can over-assign scientists to tasks. And if you over-assign and have more skill points than you need for that task, then again, that can reduce the amount of time things take.
Right.
So, there's lots of options there as a player to kind of choose how quickly you're going to progress through the game. But obviously, if you're going to give them more tasks, they need to rest more often.
Of course, of course. Is it then possible, because there's these different skills and different expertises that you have, is it possible, for example, to have sort of one scientist who's really good at something make up for a larger group who are not as good at that thing, for example?
Yeah, definitely.
I'm trying not to say specific numbers because I know the numbers are a bit up in the air.
That's fine. Definitely. Yeah, it's helpful when you're playing to have someone who is really good in logistics or genetics or welfare. Especially as you kind of get in towards the later game, because then tasks, you need more skills for those tasks in the later game. So therefore, the best thing for you to do is to make sure that you have got these people who are really good in these individual areas.
Yes, definitely. I was looking at my notes while you were speaking, so I lost the thread there for a minute. Genoscythe says, I like the system. It gives a lot more personal touch to the management aspect, kind of like Heroes in a strategy game. And yeah, I agree. Someone in YouTube chat also pointed out that they have individual bios.
They do,
you can see as you're sort of picking them out. And if you take a look at the park management guide that we showed you during the stream, which should be now on our YouTube channel, you can also read some of these bios, and I'm assuming that we have, I mean, I know we have a copywriter, and I know we have writers working for us. I'm assuming they've been typing away, putting these together.
And we also created a new system that our very talented designer, James, put together for us to create lots of different unique bios, working with our localization team as well to make sure it all kind of fits together nicely. And yeah, we're pretty pleased with that.
That's cool. I like it.
Yeah, it's a nice little touch.
I can't wait to read some of the bios when I actually get to play the final version of the game to see what's everything in there.
Yeah.
Are there other staff types that you need to hire, or are they all just sort of everyone's a scientist working in
so yeah, everyone's a scientist.
Right.
And kind of the other workers in the park, you don't need to worry about them. You just need to worry about the scientists and managing them. I mean, you know, they're a handful enough as it is. So anything extra, I think, would be pretty stressful.
Does this also mean that, because I know this came up after the dev diary came out, at least on our forums, shout out to the forums, by the way, if the divisions were no more, because that was a huge part of Jurassic World Evolution 1, having to do contracts for the different, the Hammond Foundation divisions. Like, is Dr. Dua, Isaac, and George, are they just gone now? Are they coming back in some fashion?
So they are coming back, yes.
Right.
But I'm
the characters or the divisions?
The characters are coming back, but I'm not going to say in what capacity the characters are coming back. We can find that one out later.
That's interesting. That's interesting. So you heard it here. Not only is, I mean, you heard it here last time.
They're safe. It's okay.
You heard it here last time. Not only is Cabot Finch coming back, but Dr. Dua, Isaac, and George all safe and making it in.
Cabot's back at his best as well.
Yes, I've heard some of the voice lines.
So good.
Their choice. They're really, really good. All right, I think I'm going to see if there's any scientist questions in chat. Happy Chappy says, I want to hire the scientist with the most tragic backstory and give them a good and stress-free job at my park. I mean, you can do that. It might cost you a bit to put them into rest all the time, but definitely.
Yeah, I don't think it'd be that stress-free working at a park with dinosaurs that could
we've
break
seen
out.
The movies.
Yeah, exactly.
We've seen the movies. Do scientists cure diseases? You touched on this a little bit. They do work with the med center.
Yeah. So we've got a paleomedical facility, and your dinosaurs can get injured, and when that happens, you need to transport them to the paleomedical facility, and then scientists will go in and fix them up for you.
Soggy Bagman asks, does training scientists increase their salary? I assume it does.
Yes, yeah. So the more skilled they are, the more money they cost. And so again, it's one of those important things in any management game is trying not to expand too quickly and make them too expensive. But again, it's a balance between you could have a few very skilled scientists, or you could have many kind of lower skilled scientists, and it's that balance that you have to strike as a player to make sure you keep making your money.
Let's see if there are any other questions that we can try to answer. Well, zero do 10, I think it's how you pronounce that. What can stressed out scientists do to your park? We sort of alluded to it earlier, and if you watch the video, like it can lead to some dire consequences.
Just watch Jurassic Park. I think that's probably you have to be very careful. You know, things like sabotage were so important in Jurassic World Evolution, and that is a very important part of kind of the Jurassic universe
experience, I guess.
And this time it's a little bit more in your direct control over what goes on. But I really like it as a real nice risk reward sometimes when you're just impatient and you're like, well, just one more task.
Yeah, just to see how it goes.
And see what happens. And
All right, I think it's time to move on to. Oh God, we're running out of time, almost. But yeah, so that's your introduction to scientists. You can check out the video again on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Jurassic World Evolution. We're also on our forums going to be putting up a write-up about the scientist system and some of the things that you need to know. But now we're going to be moving on to a German gaming magazine that have been picking up some steam recently. Fans of German gaming literature may have noticed a recent article going around, thanks to some clever content creators, with some exclusive images. So we thought it would be a good idea to take a few minutes and take a look at them. So let's jump over to these screenshots. Here we go. And so, of course, lovely screenshot straight from the game. Of course, this is a screenshot from the gyrospheres, which make their return. I think you've seen them for like a second or two in the dev diary. Here we have the hatchery UI. Tim, can you pause this, please, for a second?
Yeah.
So yes, you've got the hatchery UI. You've got two Amargosauruses ready to go.
Yep.
And eagle-eyed viewers may see that there are two buttons. There's Release Dinosaur, which I think just lets them all out.
Yep. Yeah. So it's a really cool new feature that we've added in. So you can do multi-release, and you can see your dinosaurs kind of all running out together. And yeah. I mean, it looks absolutely fantastic when you see what the animators have done with that stuff.
There's also a button here called Release via Airlift, which we've mentioned briefly in a feature focus previously, but it does exactly what it says on the tin, I'm assuming.
Yes, it does. It's this fantastic thing where you can get your dinosaurs ready and go, well, I don't want to release them into this enclosure. Yeah. I want to put them, other side of the park. Yeah. And you can do Release via Airlift, and you go over and you click down, and all of them get delivered.
Just placed there.
Yep.
Amazing, and that goes for the entire group as well. I'm assuming if you're releasing a group of.
Yeah. So if you're releasing a group, you have to do all of them at once. You don't have to put them all in the same enclosure, but you have to do the number of clicks you need to do. Let's
continue further and take a look at some of these other screenshots. And yeah, I'm excited about some of this stuff. Now, keep in mind, some of these UI elements might be, they're still from a game that's still in development, so some things might change, but we wanted to give you a brief look at what things may look like. Can we pause it there, Tim, as well? So, we've got the Gallimimus, and I really like just overall the look of this screenshot, look of the dinosaur. You can see the shadow there. You can see the reflection of the viewing tower in the water.
There's so much that we've added into this game and layered on top of what we had last time. And the dinosaurs as well, like they look so.
They look amazing.
Fantastic.
They absolutely do. It's a nice bright skin as well for it. You can see in the UI, you can see like its overall comfort level. You can see what you may have need to increase and decrease. Yeah. The edit environment button is basically just to immediately jump into adding more paleobotany and sort of stuff.
It's a shortcut. So yeah, you don't have to jump in and out of menus in order to be able to get that comfort up.
Good quality of life.
It's a real good quality of life thing.
Let's continue further, please, shall we? Thank you so much, Tim. Tim behind the board's doing an amazing job of everything during the stream. This would be the staff center, if I'm not mistaken.
Glasses. I'm such an old man now.
Do you need to borrow mine?
Yeah, that is the staff centre, and yeah, you can.
Let's pause on this one as well. Yes. This one would be one of our amenities buildings.
And we can see the customization that we've added in there. We've got the colour wheel, the colour picker. So there's going to be like several different things that you can change on an amenity. Not just colour, but you can kind of change the look of them as well, and kind of really make them look individual. So as you look down at a few of them, you can tell them apart quite easily. And we got some really nice signage on them as well.
For sure, and I really like the fact that you can choose the different colorations. You can sort of save them in the lower left corner there, I think.
So yeah, that will save your recently used colours. Yeah,
and also so you can put Put colors together that you can contrast and complementary. That's what I was looking for. Yeah, and use contrast.
Get your color wheel out. Yeah,
exactly.
Make sure you get
the right RGB on everything. Let's go on and continue the slideshow here. And let's see what else we've got. I don't remember the order I put these in. So yeah, of course we've got another Brachiosaurus and Triceratops here with also some of their comfort levels and some of the things that they might need in their territory and in their enclosure. And it's very easy, just click on a dinosaur, see at a glance everything you need to know, and then just jump in, edit the stuff that you need.
Yep.
That's
well, yeah, that's what you want, isn't it? You want to be able to quickly look at these things, and so we've made sure that you can.
For sure. Big Wolf Gamer says, greatly prefer this UI. Looks sharp, clean, concise, easy flow between information and action. Just my opinion.
The UI team, like everyone's done brilliantly.
I feel like we can't just stop praising people enough for the work they do.
Well, we should do, really, because they have been doing fantastic work. Everyone has. Like, it's really difficult to kind of imagine how much time and talent goes into making a game as big as this. But yeah, like, focus on the UI. Like, the guys have done an amazing job with the UI. There's been a lot of back and forth between UI design and the design team, and we've worked together really closely to make sure that we're getting all the correct information across. And you know, our UI design team are very smart chaps. So.
Ross in YouTube chat says, quality of life improvements on point. We love to hear that. Wyatt Miller says, the new UI also fits the new game so much better. Like, it screams Jurassic World Evolution 2. So it screams sequel and improvement. We love to hear that as well. Let's continue with the slideshow and see what next is coming up. Yeah, we're back to the Pseudoceratops as well. I think on the right there, that's the ranger post.
That's the ranger post, yeah.
Which then the rangers link up to be able to see what all the dinosaurs are.
Yeah, so you can assign your ranger team to a ranger post, and that kind of gives them a point of contact to kind of go to say, you know, I'm not sure how much I'm allowed to talk about.
We've said that they link up to it just to see like dinosaur comfort and how the dinosaurs are doing.
Yeah. So it's all related to dinosaur comfort, and we'll leave it there.
Speaking of some of the transport stuff that we talked about as well, there was once when these screenshots were published in Games Actuel, there were a lot of people wondering. There was a button on the, I think it was almost the very bottom of the UI there.
Just above the demolish button.
Which, if you're, just above the demolish button. If you're wondering what that looked like, it's a helicopter with a tiny box underneath it, I think.
It's a helicopter with some arrows on it.
Yes.
That is the new place for transport teams. So again, this is quality of life improvement. So whoever that was in the chat, this one's just for you. What we kind of looked at from a design point of view is to match the gameplay that we've added into this. It's much easier and faster as a player to be able to go onto that side menu to be able to move your dinosaurs around rather than having to go kind of through the response facility like we did in Jurassic World Evolution. So it speeds things up massively, and is a brilliant quality of life.
Click a button, click a dinosaur, transport it.
Off it goes. Yeah, and that's streamlined.
Amazing stuff. Awesome. So there you have it. People who wondered, and I know there were a lot of you who wondered what that button was, and now you know. It's for transporting dinosaurs. All right. The final thing I think we can talk a little bit about. If you've been keeping up with our feature focuses, we released a feature focus. Yeah, we've got enough time. We released a feature focus earlier this week about challenge mode and sandbox mode, which I personally love sandbox mode. Love just going in and making sure that my dinosaurs are always comfortable. They are never hungry. They never get sick. They never die. And then I can just build a park in however style and fashion I want. Are you a sandbox mode guy or a challenge mode guy?
I'm definitely a challenge mode guy. Yeah, definitely. I like the difficulty in there. And being able to. So we've got 4 difficulties. Same as Jurassic World Evolution: easy, medium, hard, and Jurassic. You know, Jurassic being really quite testing.
Yes, I've seen the threads on the forums.
Yes, So, you know, it was such a big success in the last game. It's like we have to bring it back. But we also need to improve on things, and so that's why we've introduced conditions this time. What conditions are? They're kind of like these little stipulations in each level that mean that we may restrict you in certain ways. You may only be allowed to do a few different things, and the reason why we've added that in is so when you go and play a level, you have to kind of think about things in a different way. There's not one kind of set strategy that you can use to beat all of them. And then also kind of as you up the difficulty, there'll be more conditions as well. So things do get harder in many ways.
It's not just a matter of, what was it? Pumping out compies and just sort of hoping for the best and see if they can generate enough income for you to get to 5 stars.
All the compies.
But yeah, so you're in challenge mode. You'll still be working towards reaching 5 stars, but then I think the idea is to make it more sort of bespoke per level and bespoke per difficulty. Yes,
yeah, definitely. We've still got par times in there as well on top of that. It's just trying to keep it interesting, trying to make things feel different and varied, and hopefully the players enjoy it.
Yeah. And sandbox mode, of course, will be pretty familiar for people who played the first game. You pick a map, and then you've got your open-ended gameplay right there. And then from the menu, you can pick and choose a bunch of different options of what you want to turn on, what to turn off. And then you can build your perfect park, essentially. And yeah, all the game's maps are playable in sandbox mode. That includes levels from Chaos Theory and from challenge mode. So there's going to be a lot to play around with, I think. And I think
there's a lot of content.
And I think we've also said that maps will have more real estate to work with than in the previous game. So I think we're going to see some amazing screenshots and like flyover videos and everything.
Yeah, there is going to be some fantastic things. Yeah, definitely.
And but yeah, and also for sandbox mode, if you haven't read the article, we should also mention that things for sandbox mode need to be unlocked in the other modes by researching it. But then once it's researched, boom, you have it in sandbox mode. And we also, we'll start you off with like a small group of basic items in sandbox mode, but then everything else needs to be researched.
Yeah, we give you enough to get by.
Yeah, from the beginning. But you know, it's but like I personally, that's what I enjoy. Like it's going to these other modes and everything sort of feeds back into sandbox mode again.
Yeah, it's a really nice mechanic.
Okay. I think we're just about the end of our hour here. I'm going to turn this around because that means that I've gone through all my notes. And for everyone out there asking for a release date, we are not quite ready to reveal that just yet, but we should have more news to share in the future. So don't forget to follow all of our social channels, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. We are at, so we're at JW_evolution on Twitter. It's at Jurassic World Evolution on Instagram. It's facebook.com/Jurassic World Evolution and youtube.com/Jurassic World Evolution as well. And I think that's about it for this monthly highlights stream. Thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you to Orchin for joining us in the first half. Thank you very much to you, Jim.
Thank you for having me.
Joining us as well. Thank you to Tim for holding it down behind the keys, behind the 1s and 2s, working the camera and working the sound mix and everything else. Thank you to everyone out there in chat for watching and for sharing your questions and for just keeping it going and keeping the chatter going as we sit here and talk through the hour. The hour goes by really, really quickly. And of course, thank you so much to our lovely mod team. Heather G, of course, I've seen, and I think I saw Aramis there as well. And of course, to Eltanen from the community team also for keeping up moderation in chat. So we'll be back at the end of next month, at the end of August, with another monthly highlights stream. And of course, keep your eyes peeled to all of our social channels for any and all official information and news about Jurassic World Evolution 2. And until we see you next time, goodbye.